What's up? What's up? What's up? We're live on this boring Monday. Nothing of any consequences happening today, right, guys? Nothing exciting, no major events, nothing notable. Basically, just another boring day in Bitcoin. But in reality, trying to break an all-time high, everybody's freaking out, posting garbage charts and terrible hot takes, my favorite time of year. If you don't know me, I'm Scott Melker. People call me the Wolf of All Streets. People always ask me how I got that name. It was a joke. I thought of it one day and changed my Twitter handle to that when nobody cared about me. And then people started calling me Wolf and I couldn't change it. But apparently people like it and it's cool. But it's not as egotistical and strange as it seems that I gave myself that name because it's just a joke. But I do like it because it sort of implies that a person could do more than one thing. Because when I started posting charts, people would say, "Shut up, DJ. You're just a DJ. You just know music. Shut up. You have no place here." I showed them. Now they're the ones who are shut up. So you can do whatever you want in life and you don't have to just do one thing. So hence the name. But anyways, I digress. Here we are, right around all-time high. I should mention that this is sponsored by PHEMEX with a PH, like fat, baby fat, PH, hip-hop fat. I think I've made that joke before. They are offering up to a $600 bonus for depositing, which is a shit ton of money to trade with. So the link is in the bio. Also hit the thumbs up so the algorithm will like me because we all want to be liked. That's what we're doing here, right? And the link for the Wolf Den newsletter, which you can see up here, is also in the description. And that is all of the selling that I intend to do. I'm going to just go to Bitcoin first. So my intention today, and I plan to do this before I knew Bitcoin would stick a big green dildo rocket into everybody, was to just look at large caps versus Bitcoin, see what's happening. So I pulled up a link chart of every single one as if I've never looked at them, as an opportunity for us to take a chance to look at that. Someone said I have a great hairstyle. So I was in quarantine for a couple of weeks and I turned into like a walking chia pet, but worse. And yesterday, this is a home haircut. I don't go get haircuts because there's COVID fucking everywhere in my town, just littered with COVID. So here we are. And someone else just asked me if I have a cold. No, that's actually just how I talk. Do you have a cold? I don't have a cold. Will you stream at 1080 in the future? Yes. I have a custom built computer that's coming soon. I have a brand new iMac back there, which is like way powerful enough to do this, but I use it for trading and I podcast and stuff on this side of the room. So I'm using an older computer and that will be upgraded and you'll be able to see every ugly part of my face in high definition very soon. XRP went all-time high. I mean, we can look, but if I had to predict, I would say like 2097, if ever. Yeah. So let's take a look here at the Bitcoin chart. This is the Bitstamp one, which already broke the all-time high here on the monthly, right? It's broken. We did it. We did it. We're rich, right? Just by this littlest of margins. Let's look at it on the daily if that line is there. So that was it on Bitstamp, right? Don't think we did it on Coinbase. Some people said it was happening on Binance. I don't know. But this is obviously the most significant line on the chart, the only one that kind of currently matters at this moment. Everything else is sort of meaningless, but still, it's fun to look. So I always like to zoom out when I start with a fresh chart. But I'd say the first thing I'm looking for here is general market structure, right? So we had, why won't you zoom? So we had this, right? I mean, if we could say that this sort of like when it came back to really here, I mean, we'll just do it the easy way here. Then whatever, right? You could draw other ones in between if you're on a shorter, but so we have a high, low, lower high, lower low. So this was bearish market structure. Then we came back up here. made a fresh high, you know, another low here, a high here. But so, that didn't work out very well, did it? Right. So this was a new bullish market structure, but technically you did not have the higher high here until, almost 14,000. So this is even just this month is when this finally flipped bullish, in my very humble opinion. So yeah, and then you expect this to be confirmed by a higher low at some point. So literally it could be anywhere above 3,800 and it would still remain bullish. Someone asked me about the CME gap. I think I tweeted yesterday that I don't care about them. I believe my words were, I don't give a shit about them. Doesn't matter to me. It's a meme. Price does not react to where there's a hole in the chart on a weekend on an asset that's been trading the entire weekend elsewhere. So for me, it's just not important, right? All right. So we have, obviously some key levels. I've never really looked at the Bitstamp chart, to be honest. So I would say that if we were zooming over here, maybe that, oh, look, there's like some leftover weird thing. I thought this chart was completely blank. Had sort of this like level, and on other charts, it was 10,540. The ones I know that I was watching, but something around 10,500 when we had on Bitstamp. It looks different than elsewhere actually, but that was a higher high. But on almost every other chart, this was here and this was lower. So it was breaking that kind of broke this downtrend here, right? But so these are the key levels that you want to basically be looking at. Maybe, so you kind of just come in and find what you like. There's something around here. Actually, I'd rather do this on the monthly. So much better. So we had a clear level here. So it was 10,540 elsewhere. You've heard me talk about that level so many times. It's like obnoxious. Believe something through here-ish, right? Look at this. Rejection, 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 break, support, support, break, perfect rejection, missed, rejection, 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 break, support. That's a level, right? That's what you're looking for in a level. And we had the huge move off of it, right? So then, like your eye should be drawn on the right. You're looking on the right side of the chart to find things that go back to the left. So you have this clear bottom here, 64.21, right? Pull it back to here, all of that. So look, you very quickly start to find important levels, probably, fair to draw one at the low, fair to draw one at this low as well. But, we're not really worried about any of those, but that's kind of how you approach a chart for the first time, right? And these are going to be all scattered all over my daily, which I did not intend to do. But, if you're looking at it kind of more now, you go back to March and pull some sort of trend line, like that, something like that. You could have pulled it higher and have it broken, but that's kind of our macro support now. Might even be clear. It's not there in the weekly, of course. So, something like this. We're fully parabolic now, though, right? I mean, if we want to be honest about what's happening, it's something like this. But what's amazing about parabola is, we're still parabolic. Oh my God. Oh, it's awesome. It's like playing Pong on Atari when you were a kid. But clearly Bitcoin is parabolic. People, Lambo sales all-time high today. Am I right? Yeah, obviously everybody in the world's buying a Lambo right now. So, that's kind of how I would look at the Bitcoin chart. We'll just, I'm going to pull it aside and we'll keep revisiting it, but I have all these other large caps pulled up against Bitcoin. So they should look proper wrecked. This is not Satoshi's vision. He did not envision this. This is many, call it B trash. Craig Wright, not the real Satoshi. I think we all know that. But this is Bitcoin Cash, and somehow it still remains as one of the highest market cap coins, even though literally everybody in the entire planet hates it. This is like the Saddam Hussein of coins, right? The Osama bin Laden of large caps. Wow, someone just said, what about BCH, sir? What do you think? What do you think? Looks like trash, hot trash. And not only that, like, look at this on the weekly. Even when it tried, got completely rejected and smashed down. I don't think that anyone in the world wants anything to do with this coin, really. Like, why? I mean, I can keep drawing lines if it makes you feel good, but holy God, it's so wrecked. I mean, this is literally trash. It's at the all-time lows. Bitcoin has just taken it. Did you see what Mike Tyson was doing to Roy Jones the other night? Like, Roy Jones was like, I thought this was an exhibition, and Mike Tyson was like, I'm gonna try to actually kill you. It's Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Be trash. So I guess we can zoom in and try to pretend that there's something worth looking at here. Actually, you could have like an inverse head and shoulders kind of thing going on here. Somebody just said that's offensive to actual trash. I think that's accurate. Seriously though, are there still people? I don't know. Like, are there people who are like really hardcore Bitcoin Cash fans? Is that a thing? Hit me in the replies if you're a huge fan of Bitcoin Cash, and we can talk about it. All right. So that was listen, I'm going to go ahead and just denote that as a monthly level. Right. You go up to your settings, right? Visibility. Oh, it was weekly. Remove it from these, right? That's how you can keep your charts clean. So clearly we have something through here, right? We have this high. Like every time you pull one of these, you're going to find something that's pretty close to it, right? Boom. I wouldn't touch this below that line, right? Unless your target is that line and you're trying to get up there. That's pretty much like the thing right now. I mean, you could draw some sort of, like, this wick is so stupid, it makes charting like kind of a meme, because you had like clearly a breakout here. Like, if you're really euphoric about BCH, you probably also like meth. Or something. You could have said that was a breakout. Oh, how's it feel? You're back down here. So listen, like, I'm trying to approach this as if I'm looking for trades, and I can just say that I would not trade this by looking at the chart. I mean, we're literally like, this is the monthly chart. Would you buy this? Okay, now maybe if you saw a candle like this, where this pulled all the way up to like here, and you could be convinced that maybe the next candle will be up, but that one failed. I mean, this is nothing but a downtrend to hell. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. Actually, if you really hate your money and want to light it on fire, you could probably buy this. I mean, we're going to go on because why? BNB, another top 10 market cap coin. I have not looked at these in ages, but I can tell you right now, I don't like it because of this. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you the same pro tip that I've given many times before, which is please stop spamming the comments with cash tags, because nobody cares. I'm not going to just randomly start choosing 3 letters out of the alphabet and seeing if there's a chart for it. I listed exactly what I'm going to look at here already. Oh, I thought I had an 88 chart, by the way. And B, you can look at my tabs up here and you can see exactly what I intend to look at. I don't know what happened though. I did have an 88 chart pulled up. So let's go back to that. Pull it over here. XLT, RQN, BDR. That's how I read those comments, right? Just like you're all making up letters of the alphabet. It's basically like Sesame Street. Okay, well, I can tell you right now that ADA is sitting at a humongous macro resistance, right? That just by looking at the dotted line of where price is, you can see that it's like, this is such a huge area. I mean, guy, if any of these pop, I mean, the amount of upside to these trades is absolutely increíble. I speak Spanish now. I said increíble. That's Spanish. Oh, see, I wouldn't say it's actually at resistance. I would say that it's above resistance, right? That is juicy. Like, that's so juicy that I want to be like, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in a limousine. That's how juicy that looks, kind of. And guys, I made no mystery. I was trading ADA. I was long leverage on the USD pair and buying spot on the Bitcoin pair only like a week ago, and it was awesome. So yeah, I would say that that's a pretty like key area. And by the way, so just so you guys don't get it confused, that's how you draw a line. This is how you should view a line, right? It's an area, it's a zone. Like, and looking at it like this lets you kind of place your stop losses better, have a different view of avoiding, like if I drew it right here and price bounces exactly where it is, you're going to get front run. But if you look at this as a whole zone and maybe spread some bids inside the zone, it's so much better. No, I do not use dark mode because I value my eyesight. I don't know. Dark mode just messes with my brain. Every once in a while, I look over here and see a comment, guys. I'm not ignoring your other comments. It's just like, nobody wants to see me read. I can't read. Everybody knows I can't read. So yeah, like that area. Let's go in maybe to the daily here. I didn't know I had some MAs pulled up on there, but that's interesting. That was actually Death Cross. Okay, so here's something cool. I'm not a big fan of golden crosses and death crosses of MAs. This is the 50 and 200. So a golden cross is when the shorter time frame MA crosses up through the longer MA, and a death cross, which sounds just really aggressive, is when it crosses down. So usually I say that they're a lagging indicator, but there's actually some really good ones here, which is a great example. I didn't know this. So the times when I find them to be powerful and when they're tradable is when they're at price, right? This is a golden cross with both moving averages as support, touching price, right? That's not a lagging indicator. It's happening right at price, and you see this absolute skyrocket, right? Now, we had a death cross here touching price, and we've seen it go down. Usually that's not how it kind of looks. Like usually it's like this, right? Like you have this golden cross and it's after the whole move, right? I'm sure we have some other, well, this is, so like you have this death cross. It did lead to more down action, but, it was really a result of all this price action. So you knew it was coming. So usually it's a lagging indicator, but death crosses and golden crosses, the way to trade them, in my opinion, if you're going to trade the cross, is only if it's right at price, because then you have actual support or resistance, and not just like if it happened up here, who cares, right? You don't know. It's usually after price has already moved. So that's cool. It's cool. We all learned something today, right? I learned that there's at least one person left who's passionate about Bitcoin Cash. It's important. I don't even know why they're, and then there's multiple Bitcoin Cashes, and they own Bitcoin.com just to be complete dick faces of dicks. Okay, well, since we've got these MAs pulled up, you can see that the 200 is actually acting as strong resistance on the daily here. But this is the macro trend break here, in my opinion. So ADA is up, and this looks like some sort of bullish consolidation. You can either view it as a range, right? Something like this. And so we're trading above the top of it, or draw some sort of ugly pennant. But I don't like that because it's barely ascending there. I mean, descending. Yeah, that's hideous. You don't want to look at that. We don't like that. So I would say that it's just kind of ranging here between these two MAs, right? Support resistance. So I would say that the safest way to trade this, just because I happen to be looking at it from an MA perspective right now, is something like this. The MA comes out, you break above it, retest it as support, and continue on. Otherwise, you can take a drop to the 50 MA if that happens. So 771 if it comes down here. and do it that way. But I would say that in theory, you know, anything above here is good. And you'll notice this 200 MA is in confluence with all this price action, right? Like you can draw lines, you can draw whatever, but the reason that we find all these lines in the first place is because of stuff like this, right? All this price action, the magnet is throwing off my whole game. That is not a cool magnet. So, right, like when you see all this sideways action and then a definitive breakdown, basically ranging, I'm not drawing it as an exact range, you're going to probably get resistance if you extend that, right? So you got to get above that area, which is above here. Like if you could draw it, you know, kind of take out the wicks, whatever, it doesn't matter. But you're just, these clusters are where there's leftover orders. That's how you kind of trade supply demand. If you technically want to take supply on this, then you would pull it from the last sort of up candle before price broke down. So something like this, right? And that you can see how strongly it's being rejected from the supply. Even with the breaks through, it can't get above. So yet again, the only way I would trade this is like that at this point. And, you know, to be more exact, that's it. And you should be heading to here. Minimum, right? And then, like I said, if you zoom out, this is like, you know, above this area where we had that, like clearly like got support, resistance, you know, then we start talking about getting up to here, you know, which is what, 4x from here, 4.5x from here, and then start talking about these. By the way, this is when you know you're at the top. Is when you have the Zorro sword stabbing late longers between their nostrils, dead. So if you see that, maybe exit. I'm just looking at over here at the comments real quick. Golden Cross was your nickname in high school too? You must have been nasty on the court then. Loud from Argentina. What's up? All right. So that's kind of my longer view on ADA. I don't, you know, so that's how I would play ADA if I was looking at it on the Bitcoin chart. I know you guys like want to see the USD charts, but like it will forever. I only trade USD pairs when I'm doing it with leverage because it's what's available, but it will forever be my opinion that like trading alts against USD is like effectively the same as punching yourself in the face for fun, which I guess could be fun for some people. But like, why go through all that effort when the real choice is, should I sit in Bitcoin or should I trade alts? And if the answer is I should trade alts, you're trying to beat Bitcoin. So like you have all these setups. You're like, I'm doing great on my Ethereum USD pair. And you're actually just not even doing as good at, on my altcoin USD pair. And you're not even doing as good as Bitcoin is. So what's the point? It's like doing work to get a pay cut, which is probably a thing of the future. People are going to all get pay cuts to do work, but whatever. Okay. Let me see. This thing just opened on my screen. Get out of here. What were we looking at? Oh, BNB. Right. So guys, the get your money off Binance letter went to pretty much every American, saying you have 14 days. So I think that's pretty important to keep in mind. I can tell you that I, for one, basically like sold slowly all the alts that I had still left on my old Binance burner account and got my money off the exchange completely. And I would imagine there's a lot of people who are going to be doing that. So keep that in mind. I would say that BNB here on the weekly just broke support and retested it badly as resistance. So I wouldn't even think about touching this until you see a weekly close above this black line. Right? Support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically 6 candles came within like, you know, a breath of this. And then it finally broke down and was strongly rejected. And that's such a fake out, which is why like you wait for confirmation of a candle close, because people will be longing here being like, there's no fucking way the weekly is going to close back below that. Oh, pain, train to pain. Okay. So the good news is that BNB is not at all-time lows. If we're looking at it from the weekly, Doesn't look bad. It just needs to get above. So if we're looking at the weekly, this is the area that you're looking at for likely demand. That pink is very aggressive. Let's make that more chill. I think it's important to make your charts look not ugly, right? Like you want to, if you're going to stare at them all day, why would you want to look at like a Christmas tree with like grid lines and all that ugly shit? I talk about this all the time, but red is a very aggressive color. It's very upsetting. So I made these like calm, cool colors that have sort of become my signature because, you know, they help me remain unemotional when I'm looking at a chart. Red is terrible. Like I don't think that there's any point in having red candles on your chart. Someone just asked me to elaborate. So everyone knows that in 2019, Binance said no more Americans, we're banning Americans. But what most people don't know is that never happened. They didn't actually kick anyone off the platform. They just sent a bunch of letters saying, hey, you know, we're going to theoretically ask you to leave, and that never happened. So most people have just continued trading this whole time. But now there's letters going out that say you have 14 days to get your money off the platform, or you'll have to contact customer service to withdraw, but we're going to close all your trades, everything. So, you know, that's where you could trade against Bitcoin alts. They're just going to make it very hard in the United States. If you're in the US, it sucks. You're going to be trading USD pairs largely on maybe Binance.us, back to Bittrex, wherever the hell ever you can trade. I don't know. So my, you know, I'm a shitcoin trader. I'm very proud of that. I take a lot of heat for it because the size of my account is too big to trade low caps or something. Like too many people are following me, and that makes me a shill or something. But I love trading altcoins. I'm not going to stop because of the amount of Twitter followers that I have. So anyways, these are the two demand zones that I would be watching. And here's your clear, like if we're looking at it from a supply and demand perspective on this high time frame. Here's supply, right? And now theoretically, like let me do this better actually. When you're doing demand, you include the down wick and the candle top, but not the up wick. And when you're doing supply, you don't include the wick on the bottom, but you do include the wick on the top. Because the idea is that these are leftover sell orders. So they can push all the way up to here. These are leftover buy orders. They could push all the way to here. So ultimately, I would be looking for BNB to land here unless you see it break this line or clearly flip this back to support. And honestly, guys, like maybe it's because I have kids or I'm busy and I have other shit going on, but I don't really see a purpose in like looking at a 1 hour chart. I like 4 hour charts to look for reversals on Bitcoin, but like trading alts, like you get these huge swings, you know, really long moves. So like I would zoom out to at least the daily and find areas that are really, really strong support and resistance and just play those. Someone said they can't even use Binance US in your state. Yeah. So like I'm friends with Catherine Coley. She's the CEO of Bitcoin.us. She was actually the first person on my podcast, and she like called me when they added Florida. It was like huge news. It's a pain in the ass. They basically have to treat the United States as, you know, every single state is its own country. They have to go through the regulation in that state, getting it cleared. So it's basically impossible to do business. It's incredibly bold of them and ballsy, and just like they can withstand a lot of pain to try to be an altcoin exchange in the United States, especially if we want to offer Bitcoin pairs or anything that could be considered a security. That's why you can trade all these other pairs on foreign exchange, but not in the United States, because they could be considered a security. Therefore, it's illegal for Americans. And that's because Big Brother is protecting us from ourselves, right? You know, I would have drawn a line here originally. But that would have been really rough to trade that on the breakout. But technical analysis is not a science. I don't care what anyone tells you. It is an art. It is a way to justify trades, but it certainly is not a science. Because if it was a science, we would all be super rich, right? We would never miss. So like you can also pull this line way back here, right? Kind of. So I would say that this is very key. And then you have another one sort of here. You could also like kind of pull it into this area. You could even pull it here and then, you know, draw it kind of off these bottoms here. I like that, right? Because look at how many times that was support, and then you see the rocket, and that, the liquidity grab, rocket up, eventual price dip. So BNB, first place to consider above here. Second place, probably a break of this, but ultimately, if you're trying to catch a knife, I would not take it really before kind of these areas down here. It's my view. Dot. What a weird chart. All right. Polkadot is the future, though. I've been in Polka starters since the first day, and that thing has just been printing money. It's been awesome. It's built on Polkadot. So I would have drawn something like this, but now, that we have this, let's see if it's a channel. You always look for channels. Price lives to travel in channels. So you'll usually find one. Yeah, I don't love it because it cuts off all this, but, kind of the idea is there. Or you could draw some sort of big wedge, where it's like, but this, naturally you would draw that. So you're kind of below it, which makes it look worse. Maybe something like this and something like this, Either way, this should eventually break up. It's clearly a descending pattern of sorts, which should break to the upside. I'm not going to take that off. Since we're looking here on the daily, you would be remiss to not see this entire massive chunk of price action over here, right? Before, because that was the stopping point of this entire move and the support of this entire move, all of this in here. So to really, really be bullish, you want to get kind of above that. But that's, not a big deal right now. If we were drawing demand, we would be drawing it off this candle. So like this, right? And if you extend it up to here, then we've bounced out of it. It's all subjective, guys. There's no firm rule on how to do this, right? So it's this whole area that's support, and we're trading above it. So that's good. It's a good thing. Just checking over here to see if I missed anything important. Guys, people are saying that I only take requests from subscribers to the newsletter. I just decided to do this today. This has nothing to do with the newsletter. I just decided to look at the top 10 coins by market cap. They usually move first if there's a big alt move, so it's worth it. I'm not looking at Tether, obviously. So that's the deal kind of with DOT. You want to really take a break of this or anything above here, and you would want your stops down here, because I don't count this price action really when it entered the exchange, this savage sort of Darth Maul candle. So anything sort of below here is price discovery to an all-time low, right? Pull that down there. So I would if I was trading DOT, I would be looking for that. You could buy it on the breakout, buy it on the retest, buy it down here, or alternately, which is the even safer route, be to buy it when it breaks that. Yeah, right? Because this is clearly a major resistance. Support here, basically support here, major support here, and has never traded back above it until that second was rejected. So 31968 is your safest entry, I would say, on DOT. And to show why you want to catch a retest and wait for confirmation now is wicks like this, right? Ends up, comes back down. That one did close slightly above. Oh, no, it opened slightly above, so who cares? And close below. So you want to wait for a close above resistance to confirm that it's likely to flip to support. Right. So that's generally dot. Ethereum, which I think will wildly outperform Bitcoin in the coming years. But what do I know? Just think that we're at an all-time high already for Bitcoin, and Ethereum's nowhere close. So don't catch up, because I think that Ethereum is generally a great asset, right? So this is the Ethereum Weekly. Funny, I'm looking at it on a different exchange. Let me load something because I know I have the line chart. I love this. I know I was saying I was going to do blank charts, but when you look at it on a line chart, which eliminates a lot of the noise of wicks and stuff, like super bullish, right? Macro break on the weekly, retest as support, and then a higher high would require a break of this blue line, basically, because then you would get higher than this last high on this bearish move down market structure. But I digress. It looks very different when you draw the wicks, right? So if you did it off candle closes, it's also a different exchange. But if you did it off candle closes, right? And that's what I use wicks when I use candle charts, but I also like to look at the line chart and see, you know, so it kind of looks like that, which is obviously a very different story, right? Most importantly, you know, you had these highs here. And again, like, you know, and we're bouncing off of that as support, this area. So anything that holds above this, I say remains kind of bullish, and sort of back to the idea of what I was sharing before. Look at all this price action, right? So extend it, right? Huge cluster of price action, tons of interest in that area. So you're going to find that when you revisit it. You very rarely break through a huge cluster like that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just reading some comments over here. So yeah, I would say that generally, like, I just think Ethereum looks really, really bullish here. And, you know, I would draw something here clearly. So, right, we had this high, right? So you know that when you pull that back, you're going to find a lot of price action kind of right around it, right? See? Like, who cares? This is not important. You don't, this is like you pulling it back for your own ego, right? But anywhere in this area, I would say, you know, you could pull through here. So that's a clear level. You have a clear level here, right? Because you have these lows and then you pull it back and you find these highs. So then you want to pull up to this one, see if there's anything there. Kinda. I kind of like the area, but whatever. So you get the idea, right? And that's how you start finding these support resistance. Let's pull fibs. You can extend your fib lines, by the way, like that. Want to keep going that way. Sorry, I do shit like that all the time. So, you know, this has not even, like, this entire move down, we haven't even gotten to the 23.6% fib, 38.2, 50. So, like, I mean, even just like if it was just a kind of a normal retrace, you should get to these levels, even if you're still bearish, right? And that's huge moves from here. Right? You're talking about like 3x moves to get to here if you get all the way to the golden pocket. 0.1, I mean, you know, 3 over 3x. That's what we want, right? So I would say that Ethereum generally looks very bullish. Yes, Bitcoin's going to abuse it if it continues to like push through the all-time high here. Of course, I'm not talking about today, but like, you know, if you were buying this support here, you're up and you're happy, and it might come down here and continue up. That's why I think taking smaller positions on larger time frames is kind of your move. I don't look at Ethereum USD. It's going to be a chart that's already done, but someone asked what the golden pocket is. So the golden retrace is basically 61.8% Fibonacci level. And golden pocket is there from like 65%, 61.8%. That area is considered where, like, well, it depends on if you believe in like cosmic rays and that unicorns piss on the charts and they piss on nature and then everything moves together and cosmic harmony. I don't believe that. I just think that people look at the same areas and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But, you know, that's a important Fibonacci level ratio in nature, you know, like spirals of leaves and shells and, you know, delicate man snowflakes, things like that. So you look for things to retrace to, you know, right around the 61.8% level. Totally normal and doesn't even necessarily change the trend if you're a Fibonacci trader. So you can bounce all the way back up that high and still be in a down thing. And yeah, someone says, as long as everyone believes the same stupid crap, they'll make it happen. Yeah, I mean, just look at America and extrapolate from there. So I love the Ethereum USD chart. If you've been riding with me in the newsletter, you've probably been long this thing or buying it at least, right? So we had this huge range, higher highs and higher lows throughout the entire range. And then a break of the range and a retest as support, right? So we had all this, but you expect this is such a key, like important level, right? It's going to be probably retested as support, not every time, but a majority of the time. And then you had this supply demand zone, and that's exactly where it wicked through and exited up. I mean, now obviously, like you probably don't want to touch this to avoid this, right? Whatever. Oh, there's something I want to talk about. I tweeted it on Twitter. Tweeted it on the tweeter, as if I had to say that. So I keep seeing people talking about this shit, and it's so dumb. Okay, right. They're saying that this is a double top, right? So 2 equal tops, I've talked about all the time. Sorry. Do not make a double top. This is just a normal resistance, whatever. So if this was a double top, how would it be confirmed? You asked, right? A double top or bottom, but in this case, a double top is confirmed at a break of the swing low between the 2 points, the lowest point between them. So you cannot call this a double top unless it breaks 3,122. Wow. Let's make this even more fun. Okay, the target of a double top is the measured move of the depth of the pattern. So it won't let me do it. I want to. Let's see what our target is. It won't let me do it. It won't go below 0. It would be like negative $16,000. Right? Bear euphoria everywhere for that one, right? I was hoping it would let me pull it all the way down there. I wouldn't do it. So there is no even possible double top without a break of $3,122.28 on Bitstamp. So don't listen to it. If anyone's calling this a double top, move on with your life. Right. Come on, don't waste your time explaining these things. There's people who think that's a double top, right? See the comment. People are listing it. Okay, let's look at Link. The moment you've all been waiting for. Right? Okay, so someone said something about a cup and handle. I mean, if you're calling this entire thing a cup and handle, I mean, it would be really ugly. So you would have something like this, right? You don't want to see this in a cup and handle. Like you want to see this much more rounded. But if we're like just for the lulz, you know, you would look for like something like this coming off of it, right? And so like, you know, you wouldn't ever want to, when a cup and handle becomes basically invalid if you go like more than 50% of the way down. So, you know, you would basically say the lowest this would come is like 11,423. And then the target would be same thing. It's the measured move of the depth basically. So somewhere up in the, I don't know, 38,000. That'd be nice since the cup is from 3,000 to 20. So yeah, I mean, if this turns into a cup and handle, some people would say it's valid. I would say that this kind of invalidates it because it really is supposed to be a rounded bottom when you make a cup and handle. By the way, a cup and handle cannot be a reversal pattern. It's only a continuation pattern. So if you see someone identifying a cup and handle at the bottom, run. They have never studied TA. They don't know what they're talking about. Cannot be a reversal pattern. Often when people call like a cup and handle at a reversal or something, they're actually, what you're seeing is like an inverse head and shoulders or something, you know, like if it was at a bottom, they're just identifying it wrong, but whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to fluff you guys with Link and then pull away. That's called Link blue balls. That's a technical term. I didn't make that up. Okay, so first of all, Link was And as I called it on a live stream once, the single most bullish weekly chart that I've ever seen. What's better to use log, scale, or normal? I always use log because I don't like a $1,000 move between 19 and 20,000 is very different than a $1,000 move between 1,000 and 2,000. Someone wanted a link fluffer. For those of you who don't know what a fluffer is, it's something you should Google. I'm not going to talk about that. It's gross. It's gross. So you had this massive bullish channel, right? And then you had finally this amazing retest of the EQ. The EQ is the 50% line in a channel. Equilibrium, it's the 50% line. I have it as a dash, right? And so you had this massive move above, beautiful retest. But now, last 4 weeks, looking kind of shitty, right? Didn't want to go back in there. Didn't see that coming. And honestly, like if we're going to be, let's be honest, as they say, I'm going to get rid of that on the daily. I mean, this is not like kind of, I'm generally bullish on Link, guys. Please, I just happen to be looking at the chart. But like this is making lower highs all the way down, you know, kind of the bouncing ball. And it's kind of, I mean, now it's making a slightly descending, but it looks descending triangular-ish, right? Like something like this, right? But let's also talk about descending triangle. It also looks like a massive head and shoulders. Cannot be, oh wow, cannot be ignored. By the way, it doesn't mean shit, guys. Doesn't mean Link's gonna die, you know. But if you trade these patterns, 1, 2, 3, volume doesn't really confirm it. You want to see major volume on the breakdown, but either way, this line can be used as a support and resistance, right? But you kind of have this like descending triangle thing. A descending triangle is massively bearish, right? Wrong. Statistically, according to Bukowski, who also probably had a fluffer, Bukowski, the pattern site, you should check that out. You can see the statistical completion of patterns, the odds that they will statistically complete. Talking about fluffers and completion. It's funny. Is the pattern site. So, and a descending triangle basically generally ends up statistically being a continuation pattern. So if it's at the top, you actually 62% of the time see it break to the upside. Even though it's technically a bearish pattern, it almost always breaks to the upside. And this is at a top, right? So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But in general, when you see a kind of a pattern like this where you're making lower highs and the lows are not really, are somewhat equal, you know, you're seeing basically attempts by bulls to push and they're getting weaker each time and sellers are putting more pressure until it breaks down. So, I mean, Link just doesn't look great here. But that said, it's sort of like at support, you know? So like I could totally see taking a position here, even if you don't think it looks good, because you can release it like kind of right under here, right? So if you're just looking at supply and demand, you have this major demand and you tapped it. So I just would say you don't want to kind of be below here. So it's fine. I don't see any reason to trade the Link Bitcoin pair right now. I don't see the reason to trade anything Bitcoin pair right now because Bitcoin is literally flirting with an all-time high and wants to do you dirty. Bitcoin is not your alt's friend, right? Bitcoin is the guy who drives up with the motorcycle and the black jacket and picks up your 14-year-old daughter to go on a date. Nobody likes that guy if you're the parent of that poor, innocent altcoin, right? And so I just don't see a reason to be jumping all over it right now. Bitcoin, 19,231. Come on, man. Show some spirit. A little spunk. Where were we? Link. We can zoom in on this. See if we find anything super interessante. I learned that from Rosetta Stone. Muy interesante. Now this is interesting. If you're looking for the bullish side of things, right? Let's say the price dropped all the way down to here, and we consider this some sort of bottom. Then you have this. Let's call this the range, right? You have this low, clear highs, and then price fell away. Tons of action around the EQ, complete rejection here. Oh, I love this. But what's fun about this? This is kind of like a trader's really great. I had never zoomed in on this. This is awesome. So like you have the highs here, right? And then you have here what I talk about all the time. You hear people talking about. This is a bearish SFP. Let's make it red so you know it's bad, right? But the range lows, that's what people often call, you'll see traders talking about sweeping the highs or sweeping the lows. That's what we're talking about here, right? You have these highs. They push price above it. This triggers longs, right? People who are trading above this resistance, it's broken. It triggers their longs. It also stops a lot of shorts out. And those become what? Buy orders. So you have buy orders from people trying to go long, and you have buy orders from stop losses of shorters and sellers. That is called engineering liquidity. Someone who wants to sell a lot of link will actually drive the price up to that area to find the liquidity in those buy orders and sell into them. And then you have this massive drop. And guess what? You have a bullish SFP on the bottom of the range. Same exact thing. Huge push down, firing shorts, firing stop losses, and then a massive wick above, and we don't return. That is, if you want to see how big players are trading link or a market in general, this is the perfect example of it. Bearish SFP, bullish SFP, and look, rejection right at the EQ. So I would say that if you're trading the range, you want to be above here to target the top. But ultimately, so these are your trades, right? You got. So you would want to enter either here, or I guess you could, go here and shorts. This is where you short. If you were looking to short this, not just because it's linked, because anything else, that's your short. That's it. So this is how you can be agnostic about any trade, right? You don't care. You have a plan for both sides, and you just play it as you see fit. Someone asked me if I'm still long on Bitcoin at 19,600. I took that as a complete joke position, 25x leverage. It's open probably on my other computer. My stop is just below 19,000. It could have hit. I don't even know. I don't know if we ever got that low in the last hours. Maybe I could have stopped out. I don't know. But I took it as a joke just because you should not do that. I literally just took a small position because I wanted to be there if we broke the all-time high right now. I don't know. Probably, maybe might have stopped out somewhere. Just money, right? So yeah, that's kind of your plan. Let's, someone said, look at Link USD. I'm willing to do that. USD is such a shit coin, by the way. All right. That's not bad. But yet again, look at the Bitcoin chart and look at this. Why would you want to be trading the USD pair of this right now when you could just be sitting in Bitcoin with a pina colada in your hand on a tropical beach with a hot girl or guy, whatever your thing is? If you're a girl, it could be a guy. If you're a guy, it could be a guy. If you're a girl, it could be a girl. Accept all that on our live streams. It's awesome. So yeah, I'm looking at what I drew. So this is basically, okay, who was asking about the golden pocket earlier? Okay. These are fibs drawn to retrace this entire move from here down to here. Okay. Where was the rejection? 61.8%. 14.46 was the ultimate top here so far. What do you think? Huh? It's pretty cool, isn't it? I whispered it so that it would turn you on with how cool it is. 61.8%, right? Not saying it won't break it, but perfect resistance, right? So we had this sort of line here. I don't know why the hell I drew it. It's just there and it's pink. Yes, that is true. Scott, how can I get your charisma? meth. You do meth. It's great. Watch Breaking Bad. Come back to me. You'll have a lot of insights. No, I don't do drugs, guys. It's not true. It's not meth. Link USD. I don't know. So yeah, I actually had detailed this trade, right? I longed Link. I think it was, I don't have it on here. I wrote about, so guys, I like break down my trades in the newsletter and I share my losses because you're a loser if you don't share your losses, right? No, we all know, although some people get suckered into it, that nobody wins all the time. I went long like here. I saw this as a breakdown. We had this support, right? And I really wanted to see it above here. And then this little candle close above, I was feeling pretty good. Oh yeah, right? I'm a trade god. And profit. It's amazing. I bought this. Actually, it was here. I bought this retest at 15. It was like 15.1 because I bought it, it bounced and I bought it a little bit above it. Went up here. And so I had my stop, somewhere at 14 something below this ascending line. And I love taking trades where the ascending line is support because you can move your stop up, right? If price had gone like this, I wouldn't leave my stop down here. So it gives me a reason to trail the stop below support, which is awesome. So, but I saw it where I was wrong was like I had, my stops down here because I entered it here and I didn't move them up. And then price broke and I saw this, right? I saw it break and I saw it go back to retest. And I was just trying to be like, I'm going to hold and trade my plan. But like that was a break of support. It's not drawn the same way I had it on this one, but it was something like this. I don't know. And, and I saw this retest as resistance. And I could have just entered here and literally like break even, right? Like this was my entry. Could have broken completely even on that. Then I watched it do this. And then what did I do? You want to see how you trade like a noob? My God, dude, the Morangi, I literally just talked about that shit. What happened to the 25X you've opened at 19,600? It was small. The stop is somewhere around 18.9, just below 19 and, just above liquidation. And I don't care. It was the small position. I did it for fun because I wanted to be able to say I had a high leverage long when Bitcoin broke the all-time high. And so what did I get for that? Probably lose a little money. It was fun though. Anyways, back to Link. And then I said, oh, but this could hold as support, right? And I could have gotten out here and it continued down and stopped me out. So listen, I traded my plan. It was fine. I took the exact amount I was willing to take. It was like 0.75% of my trading portfolio or something, but I could have not taken a loss at all if I had not changed my plan, right? Or if I had raised my stop and if I had not, I should have deleted this line basically and said, I'm going to move my stop up and I would have at least gotten out like here. So that was my last Link trade. I don't really know what it's going to do. Yeah, whoever said probably like 0.000. Yeah, it's like literally like a couple. It's a small trade. Small trade. But honestly, like someone said something about I can't what's going on with the trade? I don't fucking know. I entered the trade. It's got stops and it's got some targets and you live your life. Like you don't babysit a trade and you don't need to, given I happened to be looking at that Link one and could have made a wiser decision, but like you trade with a plan and you move on with your life. Set alarms, right? I mean, Litecoin is clearly sitting at a key resistance on the weekly. God, that red is so ugly. How do you guys look at red on charts over and over again? It's terrible. Scott, when do you decide to enter the trade to break out a retest? It's always difficult to measure. It really depends, honestly. It depends on, it's hard to you can use stop limits to set buy above a level, but it's very hard to trade a breakout with a plan in advance. You have to be sitting there kind of to buy the breakout. Your alarm goes off and you do it. It's much easier to see it close above and then set a buy order at support, for the retest. So I prefer to do that because it's just much easier. The alarm goes off, you see if it breaks. If you see a candle close above, you set your order, put your alarm on to let you know if you retest. And it says sometimes it doesn't even retest, so I missed the entry. So find something else to trade. Who cares? You don't need to trade that one thing and catch that one trade. There's a million trades in the world. Other fish in the sea, as my mom used to say every time I dumped a girlfriend. She would say it to them, not to me. I was dumping. Big dumper. So that was a rejection, but this is how I would have drawn it kind of on the weekly here. You know, with a, now you could either draw this as sort of a descending broadening wedge, probably more accurate, or you can kind of fill your bias and make it descending wedge. But the support to me doesn't really matter because I'm not trying to buy it off the bottom. That's why I often don't even draw those. Is there a way to subscribe to your newsletter using crypto? Yes. I have to do it manually, which is annoying because then we have to like remind people for the thing. But I'm working with a company called Utrust to try to automate that, which will be done very soon. But you can DM me on Twitter and we'll reach out to you and figure that out. Yes, of course I take crypto. I prefer to take crypto. It's just like you can't do recurring subscriptions with crypto because people have private keys and wallets, but we're looking for solutions for that. In fact, the newsletter may be the first recurring subscription crypto thing ever if we figure it out, which is sweet. So Utrust is awesome. That's UTK, which one of the things that I just moved off Binance and didn't sell and just kind of put in a wallet and forget about it because I really love that project and that coin. So yeah, Litecoin, I would say you want to be above this line and ultimately above that line, even with this is like a bull trap, right? Break and fake out, rejection, whatever. So let's zoom out, find some more levels. What's the price of Bitcoin now? How many dollars is one Bitcoin? 19,125. I'm going to stop out of that trade probably. But it's going to have been so much fun to know that I tried. Give it the good old college try. By the way, this is how you should literally feel about your trades. Like you should not care at all if you stop out. If you care like deeply that you're stopping out, there's a few things that could be going on. One, you are way overexposed and it's too big. Two, you're emotionally attached to the asset you're trading, or three, you're just emotional in general and shouldn't be trading. If I get more pissed off if a guy on my fantasy football team like kneels at the goal line instead of going in to score than I do if I lose a ton of money on a trade. I know exactly how much money I'm going to lose on a trade. Who cares? If you expect to trade and never lose, you're going to be wildly disappointed in life. There's a bearish SFB, right? That was ultimately the highs of this entire thing. So yeah, I'm talking a lot of shit right now while I casually draw these lines, but these are the areas that I would look for on Litecoin. This is Litecoin, right? Do you remember when Charlie Lee sold the top of his own coin? Someone said my voice sounds like Matthew McConaughey. No, it doesn't. He's got like a higher voice and kind of a Southern thing going on. Ooh, I'm getting a Charlie horse cramp. That sucks. I'm gonna pretend it's not happening. Look at this. Look at that wick. It's going all the way down to 0 over here. That's hilarious. That's not real, right? So this is your Litecoin approach in my mind. Is I would just basically, this would be cool if it is going to break out if it tested both of these as support at the same time here, right here. That's an entry you want, right? Yeah. More likely it does. Yeah. Yeah. So that's sort of my Litecoin view. Someone said that I did look at Ethereum USD, bud. Bitcoin dominance meme chart. Let's do XRP first, since you're bringing up meme charts. Zoom. Zing. Da-doon. Okay. 1 hour. Fucking look at a 1 hour chart. So by the way, I am going to go on record as saying I was the first person talking about longing XRP USD a couple of weeks ago. Didn't see anyone else. I'm sure there was, but I was super clear about that and super ripped it. Did not hold it through the targets, but I'm just going to show you because I want to collect my props. as we used to say in the 1980s and 90s. Is this even the chart? Is this even the chart? Yeah, it was down here. But if you were in the newsletter, it was literally weeks ago, right? And I was saying, take it off the 50 and target this. So in the words of Biggie, we all got Richie like Lionel. Shit. I like to quote Biggie a lot. If you don't know that. I was just thinking a minute ago that we were getting C notes by the layers. True fucking players. Yeah. So this is your key support now. It's beautiful, right? XRP looks great. XRP looks amazing. Someone said, you sure did, Ross. Hey, Ross. And made me 100% in 3 days. So in case you guys are wondering, I have paid Ross to come into the comments and tell people that I'm telling the truth. Ross, your check is in the mail in depreciating asset called the United States dollar. Okay, so we have a clear like bull pennant kind of situation here. XRP looks fucking great, guys. No bullshit. Right? So either this, I don't love this because this candle's new and you should not come all the way to the apex of a pattern. More than likely, it's really something like this. So that's an interesting point. Let me draw that again, right? Let's say you have a huge, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Come over here, right? So you have a pattern like this, huge symmetrical triangle kind of thing, right? So isn't there one of those thingies where you can do like ghosty candles? It's fucking cool. Can't find it. I haven't done it in so long. Ghost speed, right? So yeah, you know, price comes into here, starts bouncing around. Oh man, why are those such an ugly color? So lame, right? And then you do this and we're all the way here. That becomes almost an invalid pattern, right? A triangle, a pattern, if it's going to be strong, should break out between like 60, at the latest, between like 60 or 70% of the way through the pattern. So it should have broken out like here. When you get to here, this is what you usually get, right? Oh, you're so excited. Right? Doesn't break. So just in general, that's important to note. But I would say the XRP looks fucking great, guys. Saying it. I mean it. It looks really good. So I would, at this point, I would just wait for a break of that and take a trade on it. But, you know, this has clearly some sort of bullish consolidation at the top of a massive move. That's it. So I'm going to have to go in like 2 minutes because I'm interviewing the CEO of Utrust in about 50 minutes, Sonia Khan, for the podcast. Forgot that was happening today. So what about SXP? I don't know. Can't trade it. It's on Binance. I don't know. Well, dominance kind of dropping, but yeah, I mean, dominance bounced off support. Now it's kind of in between. So I guess we'll see. Where's Bitcoin? 19,141. Not great. So yeah, I don't know what to say about dominance right now. It was rejected again here, which is good. So you'll hope what you want to see from dominance if you're an altcoin trader is this now, right? That would be great. But don't know. So guys, like I said, I got to go eat lunch before I do this podcast, which I still have to prep for. So once again, this is the newsletter. You should sign up for it. Link is below. It's pretty awesome. There'll be a free one coming out this week as well. And sign up for PHEMEX. Get your bonus. That was a whole bunch of charts. I'm sorry that we did not get to celebrate an all-time high. If you don't like me, you might have celebrated me stopping out of a Bitcoin trade. I'm not sure. Which is cool. But I ask you once again to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. I will definitely be on again Wednesday at 2 p.m. EST, charting requests for my subscribers. And on Thursday, I believe at 1 p.m. EST, I'm talking with Simon Dixon, who's an absolute legend. I had him on the podcast before. That will be live streamed as well, talking about, he has this amazing new retirement, basically course and plan called Retirement Plan B for Bitcoin. So that's pretty awesome. So, you know, look for me talking about both of those. Otherwise, I will see you guys all very soon. Thank you for showing up here. You guys are really, really great. Honestly, it's blows my mind that anybody. It just blow my mind that people used to show up for me to DJ, and now they like show up for me to live stream, which is hilarious. So here we are. See you later. Peace. Have a good one. See y'all.